Welcome to the Freedom Property Podcast, the modern real estate brand empowering excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? We are back in the studio today with the REIQ Buyers Agent of the Year, Mrs. Joanna Boyd. How are you?
Thank you. Yeah, really well. Thank you. That was a nice intro.
Oh, that's what you are.
Yeah, well, I am actually.
Yeah.
I forget sometimes, but yeah, it's been not a long time coming, but I'm been really happy with where we've been moving in the business, and it's really great to get those, I guess, acknowledgements from your peers that you are doing the right thing. So, yeah, it's awesome.
So it's been a long time. How long are we talking here? You've been in the game for a long time, really?
Yeah, I've actually been in for 25 years. I think a lot of people don't realise that. So I've been really involved in real estate franchising, estate manager and regional manager roles for probably a good 15 years. And then...
what brand was that at?
So that was with Rain and Horn Corporate and Richardson and Wrench.
Okay.
Then I moved into Aon Insurance and I headed up the real estate division. So I had probably about 15 staff nationally that I looked after. So I did a lot with business owners, sorting out their insurances, indemnifying, educating. I guess that's where I forged my relationship with the REIQ as well. So I used to do a lot of training, facilitating with them. And I actually became a fellow of the REIQ last year, which I think is about 16 years. So that's a little bit crazy. Then, my life had a massive turnaround. 7 years ago now, my husband died very suddenly. And so I was in the corporate world still with Aon and decided I couldn't do that with 3 kids and always wanted to be a buyer's agent. I used to love watching Kirsty Allsop on location on the BBC. And it was funny because my husband was always in property as well, and we had created a business plan for me to be a buyer's agent.
Yeah, wow.
And so when he passed, I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do, back myself.
Yeah, nice.
I was in Italy, in Capri, and I was having some time out and just woke up one morning and was like, yep, let's do this.
Let's go.
So that's been 5 years now.
Yeah. Well, buyer's agency wasn't really a thing, was it? It's only sort of come, into fruition like in the last few years when the market exploded. Obviously, a lot more buyer managers popped up, but like 5 to 7 years ago, there wasn't really.
I think it's been really prominent Sydney, Melbourne markets. We're definitely getting more interest here. It's a little bit frustrating because it's not really a controlled environment at the moment. And my role as, I guess, the REIQ chapter chair, and I'm also the state rep for REBA, which is obviously all buyers agent specific. We're really trying to educate people in consumers and wannabe buyers agents that it's more to just having your certification and buying property for people. There's a whole lot more that goes on behind the scenes. So we're really trying to put things in place to, I guess, regulate and educate more than anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched a couple of your podcasty shows that you're on the couch.
I know. Oh, my God, I do lots. I'm never lost for words, so that's a good thing.
No, that's great. It's very educational. It's important that people understand, the difference between a buyer's agent and a seller's agent. You know? So were you ever a listing agent yourself?
No, I haven't. No. So always had worked with business owners and real estate agents, creating teams and managing teams and understanding their financials and business development and, all of those types of things. So, I just naturally, it's funny, like I think because I have been around the traps a long time, all the roles that I've had have brought me to this point now in my career that I've got this, and you tap into people that back in the day, we've all created big friendships and they're still friends today. So I find our role is very much, I don't know, I say I'm like the fire warden or the conduit, like you always can reach out to different people to be able to benefit your clients. Whether or not it's sourcing properties or getting deals done or, trades or whatever. So, it's been organically growing for me, which is awesome.
Okay, so how do you find your clients?
So this is an interesting one. I think when I first started out, there was a lot of marketing, Facebook, SEO, that type of thing. Once we've got a few runs on the board, it's very much now organically. It's all repeat, which is awesome. Referrals. So we have connections with obviously conveyancers, different types of brokers. I wouldn't suggest that that's a huge part of our business. I've tried to create those relationships, but it's really hard. So I feel for me and my team, it's very much about who you know, leading by example, doing the right thing.
Yeah.
We find that some of the real estate agents will refer.
Yep.
I went down this pathway, probably a lot last year, trying to educate real estate agents that we're not a threat to them.
Yeah.
And I think that they really get confused that we're going to take their commission, and we're not at all. And the real estate agents that actually enjoy working with a buyer's agent, they can see the benefits behind it.
Definitely.
So we bring qualified buyers, like we'll get a deal done, right? We've got fat in the game as well. So I think now that we're getting some runs on the board, that other agents sort of go, oh, okay, they're actually okay to deal with. And again, going back to my point earlier, there's a lot of rookies out there that are wannabe buyers agents, and they're actually tainting the experiences with real estate agents and the consumer.
For sure. Yeah, it's like a win-win scenario. Like, if everyone can work together to achieve the same outcome.
100%.
Because at the end of the day, like if the buyer doesn't come up, then they will lose the property, and if the seller really wants to do the deal, they'll listen to the buyer as well. So if everyone can just work in with each other and just find a fair, happy ground,
Agree. And I say all the time, like, you've got an auction campaign, you've done a 4-week auction campaign, you've got 7 registered bidders, only one can buy. What happens to the other 6? You can't sell them any stock that you don't have listed. So wouldn't it be better to keep that relationship with that perspective and get them to buy through a buyer's agent, because we've got access to any property, So I think it's that mindset shift that needs to happen. But again, seeing small changes, small wins.
Yeah. Well, when the market popped off, a few years ago in Brisbane here, we were changing our business slightly at that time, and we incorporated buyer managers inside our sales team.
Yeah.
And so all day these young people would start with us, and we would just get them to ring buyers. We're doing laps on buyers and just showing buyers unbelievable service. We weren't showing them other properties or anything, but we were just calling them, saying hello, checking in, and making sure they understood that we were working on properties that would suit their requirements soon. And then because we knew all the buyers, and because we collected all this data on them, I could prove to my seller that I knew the buyers. And also when the market started performing really well, these buyers just kept ringing us over and over, and they're like, help us. And there was a real need for us to, service these buyers so well, but it was hard because there's no, we work for the seller, the listing agents work for the seller, so you're trying to get as many buyers there as possible. So you're looking after the buyer, but you don't work for the buyer as a listing agent. Yeah. Whereas you're paid by the buyer. Yeah. Yeah. So you're actually working for the buyer. Yeah. So
absolutely. And I think that's the thing that we've got to differentiate about a buyer manager and a buyer's agent. Yes. And again, we're exclusive buyers agents, so we only buy. We don't sell, we don't do property management, we don't do anything else other than buy. Yeah. So I think, that's something. I can see benefits of the buyer manager process, but again, you're only restricted to what you can sell. Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. So if anything, it gives you motivation to go get more listings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I say to the buyer managers, I'm like, it's not necessarily about selling them a house. It's different. It's we're servicing them so well. So if they do go buy a house off the other company, in 2-3 years' time, they remember the service and they come back to us.
100%.
So it's not necessarily about selling them the house. Yeah. You actually do want to sell them the house. Yeah. So you're going to spend even more time on them. So this podcast show is all about you, agents. It's all about giving you the tips, the tricks, the strategies to take your business and your life to the next level. I'm very passionate about helping real estate agents. And the more people that subscribe and like this show, the better guests we can get on and the more value we can bring to you. So follow us, give us a like, and tell your friends. Look forward to working with you. I get my buyer managers to ring I try to get them to do 100 buyer calls a day.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, but they're not doing anything else.
Yeah.
So, you should easily get through buyer calls,
Yeah.
if that's all you got to do. But they're not like, assessing where the buyer's at necessarily and then looking for properties for them and coming back to them. They're just touching base. They're checking in, saying we've got this one coming, and they're rounding up more interest for our sellers. And they're finding out if they've got houses to sell.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
And figuring out if they're red hot buyers.
Yeah.
So that's what we do. But, how many buyers could you take on as a buyer's agent?
So we've got a team of 5 now. So it's that's a good question. I think it has to be almost a case by case. Like, I would like to think that the girls can easily do 6 bits each.
Yep.
But it's so highly emotive.
Yeah.
And some are more needy than others.
Mm-hmm.
Some are more time consuming than others. Some are more data analytical.
Absolutely.
So you've got to look at it on a case by case, and I've got to look at the girls' workloads and go, who's got capacity. And it's funny, I call the lower hanging fruit, maybe between the 650, 850 bracket.
Yep.
They are always a lot more needier than a
lot more nervous, maybe first home.
Yeah. So we find that through the onboarding process, though, our big thing is educate, and no question's a dumb question.
Yep.
So I think that's where, although, it'd be great to have higher end buyers, you've still got to feed the littler ones because you don't know who they know and, things evolve from that. So we very much try to educate them through that onboarding, and that takes a little bit longer. We use a lot of project marketing tool called Trello.
Yep.
So we're putting in options in there for them all the time, but it really shows them exactly through data and analytics where things are. So it could be a matter of re-educating them in terms of value, expectation versus reality. I say to them all the time that there's a compromise through this process. We just don't know where it is right now.
Yep.
But by capturing everything into Trello, it certainly shows them and adjusts that expectation. Once you go through that onboarding phase for maybe two weeks, sometimes it might be 3 weeks, you've got them absolute putty in your hand. And when you say, okay, we need to do this, we can jump on things straight away. So we've built the trust, they understand the process, and then we're good to go. So
nice.
It's that's the time consuming component.
Yeah.
I find too that a lot of people are drawn to me because my name's over the door, for the business. And that's hard sometimes because I've got to get my team involved as well. And although you say it's a collaborative approach, it's like, but they want me because they've come to me, but it's sort of like, well, we do this together. So
you could still be the closer of your team though, like
100%.
You get your girls to, go out there as social properties, build that relationship. Have you seen this? If you like, look at this, and then if they do go and inspect the home, go with them. And then when it's time to negotiate.
Yeah, exactly.
You're in to do the deal.
So it's working well now. So it's been good.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's such a good business buyer management if you can do it well. I like it. I a couple of years ago did our company at the time. We were a growing company, and I linked up with a couple of buyer managers, and we probably sold 50 to 70 properties in that year with a couple of these buyer management companies, and it gave us back all the rentals as well. So I managed to build my rent roll with this as well.
And that's again, with us being neutral, and that makes us more favourable to other buyers agents that have that portfolio. Yeah. So you've got to stay in your lane sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So you as a buyer's agent are not wasting your time with the wrong clientele. So how do you weed them out? Do they have to pay an upfront fee, or how does it work?
So they pay an engagement fee, and it depends on the package, and also I guess the budget that they've got to spend. And then we have a success fee once we've secured a property for them. So, you're always defending your fee, and they're like, well, why should we be penalised paying all this money, a percentage? So you've got to really, again, I say to them, it's like Jetstar, Emirates, like you're paying for a service and expertise and the knowledge. And I guess it's not just about us securing the property. We obviously source it, do all the due diligence, secure it, negotiate, and that's actually holding the deal together once you've got the contract on paper. And I think people overlook that because, as you know, there's key dates that we need to meet. If we don't meet them, then the deal could fall over. It's about having that dialogue as well with the other parties, whether or not it's a mortgage broker or conveyancer or what have you. We're often putting out bushfires before the client even knows about it. So I think that's the bit that people don't understand that we do, and that's why we charge what we do.
And you do a percentage? Is that what you do?
Yeah, we do a percentage.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. That works out well then.
It does. You could sort of, again, because it's again, the lower hanging fruit tends to be more harder and more time consuming. But it seems to work well, that model. In the sector in Brisbane, it's not governed or regulated as to how people charge. So there's many different models out there, and I've sort of played around with different scenarios, but I feel comfortable doing what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's the right way to do it. It's I think if I was to search for an investment property in, another state right now, I think I'll go straight to a buyer manager.
Yeah.
If I was really savvy on that location, I'd probably go myself. But I'm in real estate, so I'd like to be involved in that. I'd like to do the negotiation, but I can see why people would, really want a buyer manager, a buyer's agent to work for them. It makes complete sense.
It does, and we're getting a massive influx again of more investors. And so that type of process is slightly different. Like we give them even more data and analytics to support that. I think another thing that we do in our business is that we don't give out any financial advice or strategies because I'm not qualified to do that, and that opens up another whole can of worms. But if clients come to us that they've been dealing with a broker or a financial planner, they've come with this financial objective, then we can deliver it. So it could be, whatever, if it's negative or positive gearing, rental yields or whatever, then we certainly customise that. But I think, again, that's another danger that I'm seeing a lot of buyers agents are giving strategies, and that's a little bit scary, I feel.
Yeah, I think if I was to start a buyer management company tomorrow, I'd be real aggressive with it.
Look out.
Because, there's a lot of pain points about buying a home.
Yeah.
And you can really push that.
Yeah.
It's hard buying a house. You got to go to open homes every weekend. You got to talk to all these agents who don't even want to help you. Yeah. You got to make sure you're not overpaying. You got to then make sure the home's compliant. There's so many things you got to jump through. You can just pain point, and this is your message that you'd be pushing on the socials, and then I could take that all away from you if you like.
That's exactly what I do. So I run workshops and get them all in a room and pretty much do exactly what you've said. And this can happen, and which is
still true.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh my God, that's so overwhelming. Oh no, can you do it? Of course we can.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the thing, but that's part of that onboarding process too, right? It's understanding the pain points, and people come to us not just for the off-market, pre-markets that everyone has that buzzword around. It's time. It's, a lot of people are professionals. They've got young kids. They don't want to be going through open homes or not being educated, not knowing the market. There's so many different reasons. So I think, by onboarding and qualifying, you really get to understand what those pain points are, and then you just make sure that you roll with that.
Yeah. And as a listing agent, if someone's paid you an upfront fee, if I'm talking to you as the buyer's agent and they've paid you an upfront fee, I'm like, well, you've obviously got a serious buyer. If they've already paid you something before they've even bought a house.
Exactly.
Obviously they're serious, because we deal with buyers all the time, and you're like, here you go, here's the perfect house. And they're like, oh, I'll think about it. You know? It's just like, come on, how serious are you, So
our average client journey is 36 days from sign up to contract.
That's really good. Yeah. It takes every house I've bought, it's taken me years.
But again, that's because of the working with handful of good qualified buyers. I would much prefer to do a smaller number and rotate them more regularly than having books of 20, 50, 60 like some of the big boys do.
Yeah.
I much prefer to move them out quickly, particularly if they're a little bit more challenging than others.
Absolutely.
You can just
it's emotional, buying a house.
Yeah.
It
so
can be crazy.
And get them out the door quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it sounds like you're onto a winner there. Yeah, like I say, it's good as agents to link up with buyer managers and buyers agents because I keep saying buyer managers, but buyers agents because
I know what you mean.
you know, it's you can form these strong relationships, and you know, like if you really the market tightens up as a listing agent, you're going to need your buyers agents. Like, and if the market's red hot, when the market's red hot, they think like, why would I go to a buyers agent? I've got heaps of buyers coming at me. I'm all good, you know. But that buyers agent will remember. And when the market tightens
God,
up.
I'm so pleased that you said that, because after COVID, I have got a list of agents that I will not work with.
Absolutely.
Because they treat you terribly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest message, that if I can just put that out today, is don't be threatened. Work with us. Don't be greedy. There's enough for everyone, and swings and roundabouts. So we'll feed you if you want to feed us too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I used to do with buyers? I used to have like my hottest investor list. I did a hot investor list, and I put a house under contract, and I would ring my hot investor list as this deal's pretty much it's done. You know, I'm sending off the DocuSign, and I'll ring this hot investor list, and I've spoke to them before maybe about this property, and I'll ring them and I'll say, listen, mate, you need to get to this property today. This is an absolute deal. I need you there today. It's about to sell. The owner's about to accept this offer. I need you there today. Well, I can't get there today, Josh. So I can get there next week. I can get there on the weekend. And I'm like, I'll let you know if it's still around.
Yeah.
And I'll call them back the next day after I've already put this house under contract, and I'll let them know that that property went under contract. And next time I ring you with an opportunity, don't muck me around, or I'm taking it off my list.
Yeah.
And I would let these buyers know that, you know, if you want to buy a house off me, if you want me to give you these opportunities, you need to work with me.
100%.
So,
and again, what you said, they put fat in the game at the beginning.
Yeah.
So, and then I don't understand why buyers agents don't get an engagement fee straight up. Why would you just run around for no financial gain? I mean, it costs money for us to inspect multiple properties with petrol and time and everything else.
The listing agents are doing it for free.
Yeah. Stop it.
Yeah. No, imagine that if the listing agents got paid up front. Oh my goodness. Disaster.
Maybe that's a new model right there for you.
Yeah, who knows? I don't know many sellers that might do that, but no, look, I really appreciate you coming in today and educating the world on the buyer management division there. So
yeah.
Thank
you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Thank you.